Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today I'm going to be showing you guys yet another reason why I like to use blacksmithing gauges. Now this is just kind of a different type of gauge. You may have seen this on John Switzer channels, Black Bear Forge. I'll put a link to him in the description down below. And I'll also link him up at the end of this video. He did a video a little while ago on a hook gauge, or a hook rule, if you will. And it was a longer version of what you see here. And essentially all you do is you be able to take this and hook it on the end of your bar and lay out exact measurements. Now these come in several different sizes and styles. I've actually got one over. I'm not going to go get it right now, but it's got like a bunch of different gauge things, stuff like that on the back side. But the basic concept, you hook it over here and you put a mark, and then that way you can just come and you can once again transfer those marks on every single piece across the entire project. So this is essentially the same thing. Here of recent I have to take and make up a bunch of tongs for a tong class that I'm teaching. So with that being said, I needed to take and make myself some little blacksmith gauges. Now, I did a terrible job. I was practicing with flame cutting with a regular like a oxy-propane torch, cutting torch. And yeah, it was going horrible for me. I probably need to go take some classes on that from somebody who does that type of work a lot to make it better. So after I went with this ugly mess, I came out with this after a little bit of grinding. Now, why was I flame cutting this versus bandsawing out or some other type of method? My bandsaw, the blade is dull on it, so I was not able to take and cut these or cut in a straight line anyhow, so I didn't even attempt it. So I went ahead and plasma cut quite a few of these. Well, then I decided, well, instead of plasma cutting, why don't I try and practice some more of my torch cutting capabilities? As you can see, not that great. So anyways, so now that we have this, now we need to lay it off for what we're going to do for our jaws. And I'll show you guys a little bit here in a second. We're going to go over, and I'm going to label these, and I've already got a bunch of them center punch marked up for their individual things. But basically, what you do, here's my tong blanks. Part of this needs to be drawn out in reins, and the other part needs to be the jaws. And so I need to lay off the jaw in the boss area, and I need to be able to take and have something that makes my life easier. So the way I'm going to make my life easier is with one of these tong things. I'm going to put it right on the end of this ruler, and I need a jaw bit to be about 1 inch long, and then I want my hinge area to be 1 inch or 25 mil, if you will, for anybody who's in the metric system there. And that's about it. So now when I translate translate this over to my individual pieces, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Let me scribe this one more time. Let me get this all the way across. Doesn't have to be super accurate. Now what I'll do, let me zoom you up here a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I will center punch mark. I'm going to center punch 1 mark here and then 2 marks here. What those center punch marks, I'll put a link in the description to my video about blacksmith gauges or reading center punch marks as a way of measurement and knowing what it does. But 1 center punch mark, that means where I'm going to be creating a set down or an offset. A double center punch mark is where I notate that there's going to be a double set down. So that means it's going to be drawn to the center. So I'll put 2 center punch marks here. That'll very quickly indicate, I can just set this right here, put a punch mark, and then put a punch mark. And I'll just translate that right off onto here. Now every time I do this, no matter which one of these, no matter how many of these I do, I now have a rule. So I can take and scribe. You could leave it as just scribe lines, but center punch marks are easier to find. But I'm just going to show you this real quick, how quick and easy now this layout process will be. By the way, if you're guessing why go through all this trouble for just 1 measly pair of tongs, it's not just 1 measly pair of tongs, it's actually 100 pair of tongs. So having something that can quite accurately get at what you're needing to do very quickly. You guys probably can't see those center punch mark lines, those center lines at all, can you? Probably not. Anyways, they do line up. They're right there. I thought I'd be slick and show you that. So they line up perfectly even, and I can just do that on however many pairs I have to do. Without further ado, let's go over to the anvil. We'll get this center punch marked up, and we'll show you how it works. Okie dokie. So, as you can see here, let me rotate that just a little bit there. Get this adjusted, sorry. Let's try to get this adjusted down a little bit. There we have it. Give this a little adjustment. There we go. Alright. So as you can see what I've got here, I've already got several of these already center punch marked out for the various types of tongs I make. One of the other things I've done is I put my touch mark on the top, an old touch mark, and I put a little center punch here that'll be drilled out. So these can all be put conveniently on a ring together. So this way they can all be accessed at a later date. Now for anybody who knows me, they know that I like these type of gauges hanging around the shop, and I do quite enjoy them. One of the last things we did for gauges in another video was this right here. I keep stock sizes on a gauge system like this, all labeled 5/8, 3/8, ½ inch, 1/4 inch, and 1 inch square. So this way I can size jaws of tongs or whatever. If I need a quick reference, I can quickly grab this. It's on a ring, and it makes a lot of sense. Again, it's on a ring. I can very quickly take it and access the information I need. So, what we do is I just come along here. It's a pretty simple deal. Find the edge, put my center punch mark, then I put 2 center punch marks to indicate a double set down there, or drawing out a tang. And then the last thing I will do, obviously, I put the punch hole in it where I'm going to drill a hole. So this way it can accommodate stuff. Probably bring it up a little bit. There we go. And then put a touch mark on it. That way, if anybody gets a little sticky fingered, I know where my stuff is at, so to speak. Not saying that anybody would ever do that, of course, but you know, you never know. Don't know if you can trust those guys. So, now I will go about doing a very simple thing here. I will come along and I will write out what it is. So this particular set, I'm going to write scroll jaw. Okay? If I can spell it right. SC. And I'm not worrying too much about it all being straight, this and that. And yeah, I'm just saying that because I've already punched it in crooked. But it really doesn't actually matter. Just as long as you can read it at a glance. So put on the O here to it. And then we'll do the LL. You just have to take and make it to where you can instantly pick it up. You want to make it to where you can instantly pick it up and know what it is. Right? L. L. It doesn't have to be spelt right. It doesn't have to be anything like that. You just want to make sure that it is, once again, you can pick it up and you can read your French. Okay? If you can do that, then you're good to go. If anybody else can read it, that's good too. That way they don't accidentally throw it away on you. If you work in a shop that has multiple people, it might be good for it to actually be legible. So I just come along and just stamp in exactly what it's used for. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, you know, this is an awful lot of work for this little tool. But the great thing about this tool is none of these measurements are ever going to change. I know what I use this tool for, and so therefore I'm going to be able to use this little gauge probably for the rest of my life. It's not going to take any abrasives to it. Since I've stamped everything in, the odds that this will wear out in my lifetime is next to none. So now I can always, give me 1 second, hook this up onto a bit that I'm forging and know that my marks line right up. Now these marks will line up. I didn't draw this one as close as I should have, but it proves the point. See? So you just hook that on the edge and I can know that those marks always line up. And I could do that for as many of these type tongs as I need, so I know that I'm forging my scroll jaw tongs for quick layout instead of having to reinvent the wheel and refigure out measurements and things. I just go to my scroll jaw tong gauge and just mark stuff out. About that simple. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and comment. And like always, God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one.